Dear all, sorry for not producing any contents last couple of months, but I was busy, but hopefully today I will make it up for it a little bit. I have a great pleasure today to talk with Professor Marcin Grabowski, who is not only a formidable scholar, but also he's a director of Center for International Studies and Development of Jagiellonian University, which actually right now have enrollment open for the two very interesting programs of studies. And the one is about security and development. The other one is about public diplomacy and international relations. I will link both of those programs in the description of the video, so please show some love and try to extend the reaches of the content. Marcin, it's great to have you here today.
Thank you, Mateusz. Thank you, Dr. Filari, for this invitation. It's a pleasure to be in your program for today's short talk.
Yeah, you see, Marcin, because like I said to the audience a moment ago, you are like by all means you are a formidable scholar in your own right. Yeah, but like. When we talked about international relations theories like 10, 15 years ago in those pubs, yeah, while being PhD students, who would have thought that you will be the director of a center, right? That you would be a person responsible for organizing quite a sizable piece of science of international relations in Jagiellonian University. So besides the congratulations, of course, I really wanted to ask you from your own personal perspective, what would be the biggest obstacle that you have thought of in your quest to build those institutions?
Thank you. That's the question that I will reverse a bit. So I'll start with the opportunity and then refer to challenges that every opportunity generates. I would say, and of course the opportunity is we are the country that has been or had been isolated from IR in two dimensions. The first dimension was the political dimension. We were isolated by the borders, by the fact we were outside of the Western world for a long time. And then we were still mentally isolated by limited access to languages or linguistic skills. I myself was learning Russian in my primary school, followed by German as a leading language in my high school. English was my third foreign language. So that was a challenge. Many of our colleagues were facing challenges connected with traveling. As a discipline, IR scholarship, we had that pretty limited, as IR scholarship was created as kind of a supportive discipline for the political system, followed by the transformation period. But at the same time, we were eager to rebuild those bridges, and that was this opportunity that Poland has or had and still has had a lot of young people interested in IR scholarship, but also becomes a success story of political economic transformation, especially in the recent 2 decades, that attracted young people here, attracted international corporations here, and made this a very interesting place to study IR. This opportunity is juxtaposed with a challenge. Yeah? JU was still not very internationalized university. 20 years ago, 99+% of JU students were simply Polish students. So we started to, or we could think about changing this proportion and gradually building possibly international programs would be a way of changing it, with a need to build your position in the media that brings the message to the people. So then, of course, and this is the biggest obstacle, you're working in the environment where you have to be innovative, and people tend not to like innovators. Despite of the declarative approach, we say, yeah, we love innovators, but whoever wants to change your habits is the one you tend not to like initially. Yeah, maybe this new way is better than what you thought is the best, and you've been doing it for many years, but you don't want to change it. Yeah, so even if it's better, it needs to change the mentality connected with Polish bureaucracy, with the way we teach, with the way we attract students, with the way we treat students, we attract professors. Still, the professors' body is mostly Polish. I think more than 90% of professors at the Jagiellon University is Polish. The proportion of students has changed since the period I told you. It's more than 10% of international students.
Well, looking at the educators on your various programs, also on the summer and winter schools that you are organizing, it seems that you are working really hard to change this proportion, which is, I guess, good.
Yeah, that's the goal of the center. So the first step would naturally be, or was basically, to create a concept of the program and get external support. At that time, it wasn't very easy to use university funds because the risk management at the public institutions in Poland is something that is problematic. Yeah, we're not the private sector entity, and as a public finance sector entity, we have this so-called discipline of public finance, making it difficult to invest in let's call it risky businesses. Yeah, so creating a study program is costly. Promoting it, so getting external funding was the first step. To build it, there was a grant provided by National Center for Research and Development, and that allowed us to create a national security and development studies program, the first MA program.
To understand it properly for me and for the audience, so is it like basically the precondition for your agency as the organizer of science of international relations? It is like your agency is predicated upon basically the ability to gain external funding for the projects, as you know, as like a initial impulse to change things?
That was the case. I can imagine other ways, but that was the case here, and that makes things much easier because you can spend money on extra activities, especially promotional activities, scholarships to students, initial cohorts, that wouldn't be possible without this external funding. Probably we could have covered the remuneration for teachers. That feeds the cooperative imagination of the university. You pay to the teachers. But if you want to build something that's thought or designed outside of the box, then it's difficult to persuade the authorities. Yeah, let's spend 20, 30, 50,000 euros for these extra activities. That was the challenge. Then the second step was to first to commercialize the program, because then you had to attract people that would study here without those scholarships. Initially, it was easier. So you have a bunch of people thinking about studying here. Second is to institutionalize the program into the center. Why? Because again, existing units at the university tend to be careful in taking risky decisions. And you have to take risky decisions and take the responsibility. The university, I'm not sure whether I should go into this in a public interview, is pretty careful in making risky decisions. Each paper that comes to your university, probably our university, in your case, may be easier. Our university will receive 10 stamps and signatures before it is finally
This
sold.
kind of papers sometimes go all the way to Vatican.
Okay,
I'm not joking. So yeah.
Okay, so your case may be even more complicated. In our case, it goes to Rector Magnificus, His Magnificence, and So that's another issue. You should be able to take risky decision and take responsibilities. That's something that's not easy with existing structures. Therefore, we needed to establish a new structure that will be slightly more flexible, and then of course provide money to be sustainable, including the fees from students, including the research grants. And we were pretty successful thanks to a great team we had in the center, both scholars that provided high quality of education with a large number of international scholars, being definitely a value added, both for summer programs. You've mentioned Complexity Summer School. Last year it was Winter Summer School. This year we plan Summer School. And also the MA programs we've started. We also built on our previous contacts to develop double degree, currently with the University of Siena, but we've been working also with Krzysztof sitting somewhere behind the scene of this short talk on the developing this double degree programs with other international universities.
Okay, so I think that's clear enough. So for like TLDR version, basically you need to have external funding to be able to combat like the institutional inertia of a big public organization. Is it like a good hot take?
That's a good starting point. Yes, so there are other ways to get to the same point, to reach the same goal, but external funding solves some issues in advance, because you create the idea, you have to write this idea down to the document that you submit as your project proposal. Before it's submitted, it has to be accepted by the university authorities.
Okay.
When it's accepted, you have freedom of implementing it, yeah, and overcoming some usual obstacles within the institution, as I said, are pretty often connected with the legal system we've been existing. And I also have to mention that while building a double degree with the University of Siena, I realized that Polish system is still relatively flexible. Italian system was more challenging, also because our bureaucracies are similar, not the most efficient probably in the world. But yeah, to some extent similar, and that was the number of stumbling blocks. Also, this level of centralization in Italy is higher, making it more difficult to implement.
So we talked a little bit about the hurdles, about the hard work, about like changing the reality around you. So let's maybe talk a little bit about something more, I guess, fun or optimistic. Like we mentioned, like you are the director of a center. You prepared 2 MA programs. You prepared those winter and summer schools. You also have a research center for research on complexity in international relations. But what would be like for you personally, like the biggest, accolade, like this thing that brought you the most joy in your all of your hard organizational work?
The question is tricky. Of course, first we appreciate. It's a you, but of course you should be plural. This is a group of people working here in the center to achieve those goals. There's the support and also the trust I receive from the university authorities, living in this relatively traditional structure, and still being able to understand that taking some risk is worth of this. But again, the question is tricky because you added organizational achievement, because of course I'm more happy with my books that I've authored. But getting to this, I'm really happy with the center. That was a short period of time. The center has been established for 5 years now. So we created it in 2019. The program itself was the CISAD program was a bit older, so
just before COVID, basically.
Yeah. So that was another challenge in reality, to develop international activities during COVID times. But getting back to this success story, and within this 5 years, we've built, or more or less 5 years, two quite successful MA programs that attract many students with relatively equal distribution among different countries that are brilliant. These are graduate programs. So graduate programs are usually more challenging in terms of attracting students. Secondly, we've built what you've mentioned, Global Complex Systems Lab, attracting really high quality scholars either to work with us thanks to the research grants we've received, or to work with us in other universities in the world. And
there is a thing that come to my mind. Tell me, like, because you say it's a lab, yeah? Do you have like this big glass tank with a lot of butterflies to conduct empirical research on the complexity?
that sounds good. We don't, but that's the thing we could consider. I'm not sure whether flies are good.
No, the
good
butterflies.
objects. You
Like
mean
in
butterflies?
Yeah, like
Oh,
in the
I thought
butterfly effect.
I thought you wanted just flies.
Nah.
That would have been very nice in the office to have this glass full of flies. Butterflies, yeah, that's a good idea. We can consider it. And maybe we should add it for the next movie. Yes, so we'll have it for sure. I will say, but for sure will take a couple of months because, as you know, sky is the limit here. So butterflies definitely fit within the ideas. So, but the Global Complex Systems Lab is unique, and complexity research is unique globally. There are few labs in the world, or centers or institutes, that deal with this. Pretty often they're still rooted in sciences or life sciences. Of course, the complexity science itself moved from basically from biology to sciences, then to economics, broadly understood, and then to social sciences as we understand them, including IR. But it can be innovative. It can give you a different perspective. But also, you build a comparative advantage globally. Yeah, so that's what I perceive as a success, even though the lab is still a work in progress. Definitely, as programs, they are already more or less complete tasks. I just had a meeting with the dean of Ryukyu University, of one of the faculties there. We talked about building additional double degrees with also Japanese universities. Korean universities, that are these elements we want to add to increase the cafeteria of options for our students. But at the same time, we can say that we have relatively large program, around 70 courses offered in English for those two programs. So students have a huge choice and can have very flexible approach. We have more than 200 Erasmus agreements students may benefit from, may participate in. So it's, of course, it was gathered by Institute of Political Science to center to some extent, but they can jointly participate in those agreements. So and we have very good group of people that are the essence of this success, both admin staff, technical staff. It's around 15 people now working. I would call it full time, but mostly in the center, and around 70 people or in total that we work with. So it's split pretty large group. Anyhow, we benefited from your expertise last year as well as a teacher here. So.
Marcin, this lets me to go pretty seamlessly to the last point of our today's agenda. So. You mentioned it a couple of times already, but you know that I like to think of our country, Poland, as a semi-periphery country. So we are more or less, we have two legs. One is in like less developed part of the world. The other one is in more developed part of the world. Yeah, we are somewhere in between. And from this perspective, what would you say is like the biggest comparative advantage of our location here in Krakow, in Poland? Like, what is the edge that we have that can help out not only in like organizing the teaching and the science of international relations here, but also like I guess, sharing our point of view with the rest of the world. What would be this comparative advantage in your view?
That's also a pretty comprehensive question. And
Well, you deal
I
with
have
complexity, so I hope
exactly.
you won't have any problems.
I
with
wanted
it.
to avoid the word complex at this point, but of course, many levels that we can analyze it, and from the let's say whatever you call it, political, strategic, economic point of view, even though I don't like geopolitics and Polish understanding of this area. That is first we are located where the history is going on nowadays. Yeah, so we are facing not happy, or I'm not sure whether we should be happy with this, but we're facing one of the biggest geopolitical change in the post-Cold War history. The war in Ukraine that can become a confrontation between the Western world, as we can call it, and the Eastern one. Because it's not like we think that the world is supporting Ukraine and is anti-Russian. That's not truth. That's the US-led coalition composed of the US, Western Europe, and a limited number of
the forces of rule-based order.
Of what we would call Asian, Australasian countries like Australia, New Zealand, Korea, South Korea, or Japan. Some other examples as well, and a huge bunch of countries that are either neutral or supportive to Russia. And this confrontation we've been observing is really interesting for students, scholars dealing with IR issues. But also the story of Poland is very interesting, and it's a great case to study as being basically the most backwarded country of the communist bloc in '89. GDP per capita, I think it was only lower in Romania, but Romania was not indebted country at that time. We were. If you look at the 1989 map of most indebted countries in the world, you would see African, Latin American countries, and Poland would be among them. Of course, many opportunities we used made us or allowed us to go through. Since then, we are the leader of the GDP growth, and we can give the example for many countries that would like to follow this success story. Of course, we do have challenges. Middle income trap is the biggest challenge. We don't know how to solve it, or we don't want to solve it. There are other reasons for this, because it needs difficult decisions to change your economic model further. But still, we are the success story. Coming here, even without knowing Poland 30 years ago or 20 years ago, you come to the place that's a great place to live, relatively affluent, pretty safe, with a rich cultural life, great history, nice international community, people speaking foreign languages. If we focus more on the place we are, it is Krakow, then you see, again, some elements I've already mentioned. One of the top universities in Eastern Europe, it's number 3 now, as far as I remember, Jagiellon University in this part of Europe. One of the oldest, again, the second oldest, after Charles University in Prague, and created or established right before Heidelberg University. That's the next element. UNESCO World Heritage City. So you have a history, you have culture, you have extremely lively community of young people, but you also have a great opportunities in commercial sector. For the last 20 years, more or less, more than 100,000 jobs were created in Krakow in business process outsourcing, shared service centers, and research and development areas. So BPO, SSC, and R&D sectors here. And that gives you opportunity to live here, either somehow studying and working together, or even staying here after you graduate and easily getting a job. Unemployment rate in Poland is one of the lowest in the EU, second, I guess, after Czechia. Now, it's around 2 or 3%, according to Eurostat. Polish data would give you a slightly higher number. That's also a benefit. Of course, we can then narrow it down. We go to the Jagiellon University, I've already mentioned a couple of times, and the center itself that has built really rich programs that give you opportunity to design your study path, to travel to study abroad in, as I said, more than 200 universities within the Erasmus program, and that's constantly developing, introducing these two very important elements. So research-led education connected to our Global Complex Systems Lab, but also gradually building collaboration with commercial sectors, trying to find partners where complexity science may be a basis for the implementation of certain projects, which is concluded this from the Complexity Science to Business World project last month. So these are all the opportunities we provide to students who definitely wouldn't consider it long. It's also cheap. Yeah, living in Krakow is still cheap connected to, or compared to Western Europe, to the US, where the tuition fees are relatively affordable, and cheap connected to the US, affordable in the European context.
So basically, once more, to TLDR it a little bit, we have a great venue. Yeah, we have a lot of LMVL. So we have this force. We want to innovate, right? And in the end, we also have this let's say historical pressure, or pressure of history, not only like the past, but also like the history that is happening here. And this makes us more interesting scholars and teachers. Can we say that?
Definitely, it's a value added we can have. Yeah.
Okay, Marcin, it was great talking with you today. Thank you very much for this opportunity, and good luck and Godspeed for your struggles, because they are important from my own personal perspective. I would really want to say that I would love to be one of your students if I would be like 20 years younger. So keep on doing your Lord's work.
Thank you, Mateusz. It's great. Thanks you for invitation, and let me thank also all the people that are behind this success story. So people from the CZN, Remote Education Center, that is hosting us today, and also to Krzysztof, my assistant, that supported me in preparation of this. Thank you.
And thank you very much as well. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you also for your time watching this interview, and hear you later.